MPLS TE any transport tunnel selection. In this video, I'm going to talk about again one of the another methods of the forwarding traffic into the TE tunnel. You know that in previous videos we learned about 5 methods of the forwarding traffic into the TE tunnel. Let me first reviewing these 5 methods. You know that for forwarding traffic into TE tunnel, we can configure a static route, we can configure PBR or policy-based routing, we can configure auto route announce, and also we can use forwarding adjacency methods. And finally, until now, class-based tunnel selection or CBTS based on the experimental bits. Now we are going to talk about the next method and the last method, MPLS AToM tunnel selection. Okay, or AToM tunnel selection. What is the AToM tunnel selection? Let me to say that AToM or AT, okay, is the abbreviation of the any transport. OM means MPLS, okay, any transport, okay, over MPLS. The first thing that we should know is that this is a combination of the layer 2 VPN, MPLS layer 2 VPN, and the traffic engineering. First, I'm going to talk about the AToM. AToM is not concept of this course. I'm going only to review the AToM. If you don't know anything about the MPLS layer 2 VPN or for example MPLS point-to-point layer 2 VPN, you can skip this video because this is a combination of the any transport over MPLS and MPLS TE. After learning the any transport over MPLS or layer 2 VPN, MPLS layer 2 VPN, you will, for example, watch this video, and you can watch this video for learning about the any transport over MPLS tunnel selection. But here, I'm going to review the function of the any transport over MPLS. Look at here, the any transport over MPLS is the MPLS, okay, point-to-point, MPLS point-to-point layer 2 VPN. This means that, for example, here, as you can see, we have a scenario. In this scenario, R7, this is the R7 connected to the R1, okay, and you know that R1 is the PE router or provider edge router. R1 connected to the for example R4 from the bottom pass, and R4 is the P router, and also R1 connected to the other P router, the R2, okay, this is the another P or provider core router. Also R4 connected to the for example router 5, another P router, as you can see here, and finally the R5 connected to the next PE router, the router 3. And also, as you know, as you can see here, the R2 also connected to the R3. This is our scenario about the service provider, okay? And after that, the R3 in this customer connected to the R9, okay? Let me to write it here. Connected to the R9, and also R7, R2 CE router, means customer edge router, okay? This is the first CE, and also here we have another CE. Okay, that's it. And if you are configuring the layer 2 VPN between for this customer, for the bottom customer, you can configure a direct layer 2 link between the R7 to R9. Okay, look at here. We can configure layer 2 VPN or any transport over MPLS between the router 1 and router 3, and finally router 7 now has a direct link between itself and also router 9. This is the layer 2 link, and it means that we can, for example, configure one IP address here and another IP address with the same range on the R9. For example, 10.0.0.1/30 in the R7 CE. Okay, let me write it here, 10.0.0.1/30. And on the R9 interface, we can configure 10.0.0.2/30. This is the layer 2 VPN. What is the concept of any transport over MPLS? How we can configure it? It's not important for us in this course, okay? I'm going to configure the AToM, but I'm not going to talk about the detail of AToM in this course because AToM is beyond of the concept of this course. You can watch my video about the layer 2 VPNs or MPLS layer 2 VPNs, and because of that, in this course only we are going to use the AToM, not talking about the detail of the any transport over MPLS. Okay, until now we learned that any transport over MPLS is the layer 2 MPLS layer 2 VPN. MPLS layer 2 VPN we call this type of VPN any transport over MPLS in the point-to-point form. Okay, and after that we have another type of MPLS VPN, MPLS layer 3 VPN. Okay, MPLS layer 3 VPN is another service in the MPLS. You know that in the MPLS layer 3 VPN course you learned about this type of VPN. When R6 connected to R1 and here R8 connected to R3, we can configure layer 3 VPN between the router 6 and for example router 8. The layer 3 VPN means we are for example, configuring the routing protocol between R6 and R1, then R8 and R3, and after that, one routing protocol between R1 and R3, IBGP, okay? You learned about this. In this video, again, I'm not going to talk about the detail of the also MPLS layer 3 VPN. Here, we have these two type of VPN, and we will configure it, but only these two type of VPN are prerequisites of this video. I'm going only to talk about after configuration of these two VPN, how we can use the, for example, AToM tunnel selection feature. Because of that, we will configure layer 2 VPN and also layer 3 VPN in this video only for a practice. Okay, and we don't have any special feature about the traffic engineering in the configuration of the layer 2 VPN and layer 3 VPN. If you learned about these two type of VPN in the previous course, it may be useful to you. And if you don't for example, if you didn't learn about these two type of VPN, only you can cooperate with me to configuring the scenario, and at the final stage you can follow me for AToM tunnel selection, because first we need to have two tunnel, layer 3 VPN, for example, layer 2 VPN, and after that we can talk about the AToM tunnel selection. Okay, starting for the configuration of this scenario, this is a all-in-one service provider. In this service provider, we have layer 3 VPN customers, the blue customer, and layer 2 VPN customer, the red customer. Okay, and also we need to give for example, one of the customers layer 2 VPN or any transport over MPLS VPN, the service of the traffic engineering. I will show you. Okay, don't worry about the detail. This is a scenario that in some parts is not relevant to our course, but we need to first configure that part. After that we can talk about the any transport over MPLS tunnel selection. This is a practice scenario about the layer 2 VPN or AToM and layer 3 VPN. And finally we will talk about the any transport over MPLS. Here I have a notepad file, but in notepad file we need to configure many features. Step by step I will configure the routers in this scenario, and finally we will have the correct configuration. This is a good scenario for better understanding the functions that we need in a service provider. Okay, starting from the router 1. Let me start from the router 1. I'm not going to talk about the detail of layer 2 VPN and layer 3 VPN, but I will configure them. Okay, look at here in the router 1, the first part of our configuration is IP addressing for the service provider. Because of now I'm going to configure only service provider. After that we can configure the, for example, R6, R7, R8 and R9 as our customers. Starting from the router 1. In router 1, we have the host name R1 is correct, and then IPsec. We can enable MPLS label range 100 to 199, it's okay. Then MPLS traffic engineering tunnels. It's okay. After that, about the interface ETH00, this interface, we have the IP addressing. It's the 10121/24 and no shutdown. It's okay. IP OSPF1 area 0, okay. IP OSPF network point to point, and after that